ये एक मंजिल है तो रास्ते भी होंगे और एक मेंटर भी जो मुश्किलों को आसान बना दे। नतीजे संयोग नहीं होते, दूसरों से बेहतर स्कोर होते हैं। GS Score, an institute for civil services.
Good career is a process, and mentoring at GS Score is driven by primarily two objectives. One is empowerment and another is excellence. This is what we are known for.
कामयाबी की राह पर 1000 से भी ज्यादा निशान। GS Score.
Hello everyone, my name is Sanketh Kumar Ajmera and I have secured All India rank of 35 in CSE 2022, and today I am going to talk about my prelim strategy. For prelims, I think prelims is a stage where you need a lot of pre-preparation. Even before walking into the examination, I think you have to know a lot of things. Like for example, you have to know how many questions you need to attempt and what is the score that you are expecting. What is the time in which you have to attempt and how many revisions you have to do before you're filling up the OMR sheet. So there is a lot of uncertainty that goes into those 2 hours of the examination, and for me it has not been a very difficult stage, primarily because I was tracking each and every stage of my preparation for prelims, and for this I used to use a simple tool that is at our disposal, like that is MS Excel. And so let me talk to you about my prelims preparation strategy. So for this there were 2 important things. That is, first is previous year's questions, and whenever as I was preparing for my prelims, suppose if I'm working on a given topic, let's say polity, and I used to follow this book, follow this previous year's book, which I think is by Disha Publications, which used to contain questions, prelims previous year's questions from the last 25-27 years or so. So whenever I used to do a particular topic, and once I think I'm done with the particular topic, I used to go and try to attempt all the questions related to that particular topic from all the years since 2013. So the thing is, if you do a very back of the envelope kind of calculation, अगर हम एक छोटा सा calculation करें कि अगर हम सारे 100 out of 100 क्वेश्चंस अटेम्प्ट कर रहे हैं एंड उसमें से अगर हमारे 60 क्वेश्चंस करेक्ट हो रहे हैं, तो हमारे कुछ 93 या 94 मार्क्स बनते हैं, विच इज़ जस्ट एनफ टू क्लियर द कट ऑफ स्टेज, दैट इज द प्रीलिम्स. तो द थिंग इज, सो व्हेन आई एम प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर अ गिवन टॉपिक, व्हाट आई यूज्ड टू डू इज दैट 60%, तो if you bet on 60%, you might end up with 50%. So I used to bet on 70% accuracy to at least get 60% of the accuracy in the actual examination. So what I used to do when I used to prepare a particular topic, say polity, I used to go back to that previous year's question book. I used to attempt all the question and I used to see if I am getting 70% accuracy, that is I am getting 7 out of 10 questions right, and if I am getting a 70% accuracy, I used to move on to the next topic, and if I am not, then I used to go back, redo the topic again and see all the points, look at all the topics again from which questions could have been framed, and then come back and reattempt the questions again. And once I'm getting that 70% accuracy that I required, then I used to move on to the other topic. So this particular strategy used to work very well. It's a feedback kind of based mechanism that used to work very well to know how far I am getting through each topic. So I used to record all my accuracies in an Excel sheet, and once all the accuracies have been recorded for each and every topic, then I used to go to the next step. So in the first step, I used to vertically do all the topics, get a 70% accuracy. Then I used to go horizontally in the step 2. That is, I used to take tests of all the previous year's questions, now this time in an year wise manner. So I used to took all the tests before prelims from previous year's 2013 question paper to 2021 question paper. So in those question, by attempting those questions again, I used to see that how my accuracy is improving, and many of you might have this doubt that I've already done those questions, why am I attempting the question paper again? And in fact, as you can guess, I used to get marks on the higher side when I used to attempt these questions. So, but the thing is, I used to get higher marks not because I used to remember the answers from the previous years, but I used to remember how to answer or how to tackle UPSC prelims questions. And there are some questions in which you already, even if you understand only the question in a, maybe you only understand a part of the question, but you can still answer a lot of questions, maybe using elimination strategies, maybe using guessing strategies, or some or the other kind of associative strategies. So that got me into the process of answering prelims based question papers. Now comes the second part, that is, first part regarding the accuracy is done, but second part is that how many questions to answer. And it is a well-known fact that if I attempt too less or too many, my score is going to get lowered. So there needs to be an optimum mark. So once I'm done with the previous year's question, I used to go attempt mocks, and I hardly attempted 8 to 10 mocks, in which I used to experiment with various number of attempts. I started with 75 and ended with 95, and logging all these answers in an Excel, logging all the scores in an Excel sheet based on the number of attempted questions. I found that my perfect optimal position, which I used to call my sweet spot, was around 85 marks. So answering around 85 marks became the benchmark for me even before entering the prelims examination. So this kind of strategy is actually helpful to know how many questions you attempt beforehand, because firstly it saves you time, because compared to answering 100 questions, if you are attempting even 95 questions, it saves you time in not attempting those 5 questions. And secondly, the biggest advantage of this particular knowledge of how many questions to attempt comes from the fact that if I have to attempt say 85 questions, that means I am at the liberty, I am at the freedom to leave the rest 15 questions. So there were a lot of questions that I had no idea of, and I had no idea about any of the options as well. So in such cases, I used to use the lifeline, that is the 15 questions that I have to leave in not answering that questions, and this will not only help me save time, but it will also help me save that mental space, so that I can use that particular type mental space for answering other questions. So that is the advantage of knowing how many questions you need to attempt beforehand. So the first stage was getting your accuracy right, that is 60% and above, and secondly, to know how many questions you are attempting. So constantly doing this, recording your scores maybe in an Excel sheet, or you can use other softwares like MATLAB, but whatever works for you, please do that, because prelims is such a stage where you need to take constant feedback, and you need to be a little mechanical at some point to score a given cutoff, to clear a given cutoff, because there will be, after 30 or 40 questions, there will be hardly any question that you or I will know about. So giving mocks and depending a lot on the previous year's question, I think is a way forward. And finally, I would like to just make one small a small addition here, is that I have seen the 2023 prelims question paper, and it has been significantly different from previous questions. And if I had to attempt the prelims question paper again, I would do a couple of changes. One of which is that whenever I am doing previous year question, instead of just looking at the right answer, I would also look at the other 3 incorrect options and see why they can't be the answer to a particular question, and not just the fact that the correct answer itself might be the correct one. And the second thing I would do is increase the scope of my preparation, because currently there are a lot of topics coming up that weren't the emphasis of UPSC before. Some of them, for example, are culture, not just from the ancient times but from the current times. I'm expecting a lot of questions from this in the future. Sports, a lot of trivia, and a lot of geopolitical disturbances, geopolitical events that are happening around the world are some of the things that the UPSC is focusing upon. So I would like to mention that please, whoever is preparing, all the aspirants need to focus on these 2 aspects as well. And I would also like to thank the Delhi Knowledge Track for giving me this opportunity to share my prelim strategy with all the aspirants, and I hope this helps a lot of people to increase their marks. Thank you very much.